Hello, everybody. Alex Warner here, along with videographer Nick Schmidt, as we continue the Main Street Greenville series. We take a look at those businesses and stores that make up the downtown business district here of Greenville, Ohio. Today, we've stayed on South Broadway, the 300 block, and today we're going to take probably one of the better spelling places up and down Broadway as we've come to Janet's Broadway Bakery. And with us is Janet Wideman. And Janet, let's talk just a little bit about your background and how you got into this.
Okay. Well, I started baking at a young age with my grandmothers in their kitchens, and I learned how to make everything from scratch, and a lot of German influence in my pastries and things that I make.
And you're from down around the Dayton area?
I'm actually from southern Indiana.
Oh, okay.
And I met my husband, and we lived in Dayton for a long time, for about 23 years, and had a bakery and catering business down there.
Well, so you already previously had something like this before you came here. So how'd you end up in Greenville?
Well, we got tired of the big city and ended up coming up here. My husband showed me the town. I fell in love with the town. And it was Easter weekend of all weekends, and it was snowing. And I'm like, snowing on Easter? But, yeah.
You've come too far north, right?
Yeah. But we loved the town. Went through the park, and we had young children at the time and wanted a place where they could grow up and not be afraid to play outside.
Sure. Well, then how did you happen to decide to locate right here in the downtown area?
Well, I started out at the farmer's market. I did a test market and in 2008 did the farmer's market and found out what people liked and what they did. And when the market ended, I'm like, I'm not ready to end this. I don't want to stop. So I found this building and talked with the owner, and we put our heads together and we got it up and running.
What was it at the farmer's market that was in such demand that you thought, hey, I can make a living up here doing this stuff? What product or products?
Well, my homemade breads were the big thing. The homemade breads and the pies and cookies. So everybody just liked them, and I did enough that, hey, I had a profit. And I'm like, hey, you don't do that very well, very often when you do those types of things. But then I decided, let's try it, and it's working.
And you say all, if not, or most, if not all of your products, all your baked goods are from scratch then?
Yes, everything's made from scratch. I don't use any preservatives. I use all freshly ground flours that haven't been processed. That means they haven't been bleached or bromated, any of those things. So they're all just freshly ground and bagged and sent to me.
So what are the hours you have here? This is, again, Janet's Broadway Bakery here on South Broadway. What are your hours that you have here?
My hours here right now through the summer and spring is 8 in the morning until 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening, Monday through Friday, and Saturdays 9 to 3.
Okay. And your phone number?
It is 937-423-9954.
All right, so you got phone numbers up. We'll bring that back to you a little bit later. So we're in front of the display case here, and we're taping this like halfway through the afternoon, so some of the stuff's gone. But let's just take a look at some of the products. Like you've got these big loaves of bread that have lumps on them. What is this?
That's challah bread. It's a Jewish bread, and it's a real sweet. It's made with egg and honey, and it's a celebration. It's really good. It's like a white bread with egg. It's made with egg in it and honey. Okay. Yeast and flour. And
then what's up here on top? And Nick will get shots of these up a little closer on here.
That's a dark rye. It's a German dark rye Irish recipe that was my grandma's. This is a small whole wheat. It's like what was left after I made my big whole wheats that are down here. And my large loaves range in price from $4.50 to $6.
Okay, and they're really good-sized loaves, too. What do we have down here? This is like bread, well...
Yeah, that's like a crouton or breadcrumbs. I take the bread once it's past its fresh time here in the bakery, I'll chop it up and put it in the oven, dry it out, and you can use it.
That's already dried, like croutons almost kind of thing.
Yeah. If you want to put seasonings on them and knead them, you can, or just stick them on a salad just the way they are. Or if you want to make a dressing, stuffing or anything for a bird or anything like that.
Well, then let's come on over here a little bit. Okay. We've got some different kinds of cookies here and some pies. Now, you have certain pies you make that just on a regular basis, and then you do special orders, correct?
Right. I do a lot of special orders. Cheesecakes are special order. Different pies. People come in, and whatever I've got on order, I make extra of those. So that's what goes in the case. And then I make lemon bars and brownies.
That's what this is, the lemon bars up here?
The lemon bar and brownies here. I can make special order brownies if you want nuts in your brownies or want different flavors in it. I can do all those too. These are what sell the best. So that's what I have in there all the time. And then the cookies, I always have at least 4 different kinds of cookies in the case almost daily.
You rotate those around different kinds of cookies?
Yeah, I have a list. Oh my gosh, it's grown. Too many to count. I think 25 different variety of cookies that I make.
Okay.
So today I have the peanut butter blossom. It's a peanut butter cookie with a Hershey Kiss in the middle. That's a lot of people's favorite. And it's a soft cookie. And then I have my regular chocolate chip, and then English toffee and oatmeal scotchy. So those are the ones I have in today.
Yeah, they look really good. I tell you, it's too bad, folks, we can't get the aroma of this place on camera because I think I've gained 3 pounds just walking in the front door here, if I'm not mistaken. I know Nick's gained 2, right, Nick? Anyhow, well, let's we're going to be back in just a little bit, but I know before we do that, yeah, we're going to turn some rolls here off. She's just stuck some in. So we'll be back in just a minute. We're glad you could join us here today on the Wave Channel 5 as we continue the Main Street Greenville series here. Hoping you folks find these shows interesting. We're going to probably end up doing about 30 or 40 of these as we take a look at those stores and businesses that make up the downtown business district here in Greenville, Ohio. Back here at Janet's Broadway Bakery, and Janet Wideman's just pulled a nice pan of hot cinnamon rolls out, and right now, it just looks like you're spackling drywall here. You're putting a lot of icing on there. You say you come up with different kinds of icings for different things?
Yes, I do. I have 16 different flavors that I make of icing. Buttercream like this, also depending on the cake that you want. If you want like a lemon cake or something like that, and I can do a lemon flavored icing, or if you want butter pecan, I can make a butter pecan flavor.
And you say you'd make all your icing from scratch. So what goes into icing out there for people?
Oh, a shortening, usually like a Crisco, but I don't use Crisco. I have one that's specially formulated that I use here in the bakery. It's just for icing. You can't cook with it. Makes the icing taste better, I think. And then powdered sugar, some water, flavorings. That's about it. That's what goes in it.
So the basics are there, and then just the different flavorings. So you said 16 different icing flavorings?
Yes.
Wow. That seems like a lot.
It is, but I like to. That's what makes me different from a lot of others. Is I have that ability.
Yep. And you say the reason you want to put the icing on while everything's still warm is because
the icing will melt down in between the different layers of the roll. And that way you let them cool just a little bit, but then while it's still warm, as you can see, I don't know if you can see or not,
starting to melt a little bit, yeah.
To melt down in there. And a lot of people like the icing on top too, and sometimes people will ask for extra icing, so I'll give them
grief. It looks like a lot of icing to me right now. And so these are your cinnamon rolls, and you sell them individually, or you can sell a whole tray or however, right?
However they want them. I have companies that'll call me and say I need a whole dozen or however many they need for their shop, and then
that'd be one of those special orders. And we're going to come back in a little bit and talk about some of the things that Janet does when it comes to special orders on pies and cakes and things of that nature. So, okay, we'll be back in just a little bit. We're going to talk a little shop back here. This is the business, or this is where all the stuff happens back here, right?
Everything happens back here.
We'll be back in just a moment. We're going to take a look at all the different things that Janet Wideman uses here in Janet's Broadway Bakery to put all these delectable items together. Before we do that, you right now are the only full-service bakery in downtown Greenville, correct?
Yes, I believe so, yeah.
Okay, because I know there's other places you can get like cookies or cupcakes or something that way, but you're the one that makes it and sells it right here.
Yeah, I make everything right here. I don't make for the other coffee shops on the street. They make their own stuff. But I make everything from scratch. I make special order. I use, my big boy here. This is
Let's talk about these mixers.
This is a Vulcan 20-quart mixer. I use it to make just about all the breads that I make.
Have different attachments that go on it. And
has a hook and it has the beater. At Christmas time, and when I'm making lots and lots of cookies or big orders of cookies, it all gets made in here.
That's a Hobart mixer, folks. So you folks out at Whirlpool.
Yeah, this is was made over in Troy. This is an older model, and it actually broke on me a couple years ago, and so we had to get parts for it and fix it. But it's a good old boy. It works
I
good.
see you've got another KitchenAid kind of a stand mixer.
This is a newer KitchenAid mixer that I use. It's a 7.5 quart mixer, and I use it for a lot of stuff. I mean, it mixes all my cake mixes, unless I'm making a lot of cake for like a wedding or something, then it gets mixed in here.
Where do you get your supplies then to make up, since everything's from scratch? You just go to a local grocery, or do you go to Dayton, a supplier, or how do you do that?
I go through, depends on what it is. Like my flour is made specially for what I use here in the bakery. It's a bakery grade flour that we order through a supplier. The sugar, different sugars that I use a white sugar, just regular white sugar, and that I buy wherever I can get it the cheapest. Usually at one of the stores here in town a lot of times, or I go to a place called the Flour Barrel.
Is that the one out by Gettysburg?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll go out there.
Speaking of flour, price of flour has kind of gone up over the years, correct?
Oh yeah, it's definitely gone up.
Yeah.
When I first started in 2009, when I get the 50-pound bags of flour, it costs right around $10-15 for that. Now it's sometimes can be over $20.
So it's almost doubled in 5 or 6 years. Wow.
And it's this year was the first year I actually had to raise my prices here in the bakery, just because you got to make a profit. I got to pay the bills.
Yeah. Now I see you use real butter then for most things.
I use real butter for most things, but if there's a specialty, like someone can't have milk products, or they're allergic to milk or allergic to eggs, I can work my recipes around that. So I can make, like, if you have a special dietary need, I can do that. I am a diabetic, so I have a whole line of sugar-free desserts and things.
That's something I was going to ask if you had that. You do, okay.
And I do gluten-free as well. Now, the gluten-free stuff, that's all special order, along with the sugar-free stuff. Usually, the gluten-free, I'll come in and make on Sunday, because I'm not cooking anything else with the regular flours on Sunday. I don't normally come in, but if I do have an order for that, I come in, and my husband and the boys all come in and help clean everything, and we get all the flour dust out so we can make it without getting any real flour.
Now, you were telling me that when you first got going here, you start like at 4 in the morning, but you say you've tweaked that a little bit, because the last part of your day then is prep for the next morning, so you don't have to come in until 7. Is that what you said?
That's right. Yeah, I can come in around 7 o'clock in the morning and pretty much have my case and everything ready by the time I open. Yeah, a lot of it has to do with your timing, your planning, without giving a lot of secrets away. Yeah, but yeah, it's your planning and knowing what works to have stuff ready. So when you come in, all you gotta do is pretty much throw it in the oven.
Starting to work smarter instead of working harder, right?
That's right.
Hey, let's take a look at some of these things down here. These are all your cutters or molds, or you think you've got some at home, fans. Wait till you see this.
These are cookie cutters, all different sizes, and when I do like fondant cakes and stuff like that, you can use cutters to make out different shapes to put on the cake. These have all been all different things. I mean, there was like different events, different weddings or times of the year.
Yeah.
My
You've
granddaughter,
got like stuff for Christmas and stuff for Easter and all that.
yeah, every season. I have alphabet in here. I did a thing for a preschool where we did a thing on the alphabet, and they came in and they all got to choose a letter of the alphabet and made their cookie and got to decorate it. I do stuff with the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts. They have badges where they have to come to a bakery, and so they come in, I let them make cookies, and then they get to decorate them, and then they take them back to their meeting and they get to eat them.
When you talk about decorating, how long does it take a person to kind of get proficient at icing stuff? Because, you have some, and we're going to take a look at this a little bit, some of the cakes that this lady's done. But when it comes to icing, I mean, that's something you got to work at, and it's kind of an art you pick up over the years,
Yeah,
right?
it's an art form. I mean, it takes a lot of practice, takes a lot of time. The icing itself, knowing what you work best with. I make my own buttercream, so I know what the consistency is that I like, that it works best for me. Now, my icing and consistency might be different for someone else. They might need it a little bit thicker or a little bit thinner. There's different things, but it's just the way I'm used to decorating, how I learned.
Okay. Now, you briefly mentioned your boys, so we might say you're a one-woman shop, but you do have a little help once in a while, right?
Oh, yeah, my kids come in and help. My husband comes in and helps. For a while before he got his business going, he would come in and help me decorate, and he can bake and decorate just as good as I can. So.
Wow, that's hard to believe, really.
He actually showed me how to make a rose.
How to make a rose with icing, you mean? I thought you had like a special attachment on the end of that. What do you call those things? You squeeze them out.
Those are different tips. I have different tips over here.
Yeah, we'll get Janet back in the picture here.
The most popular ones I use. This is like for like the top of the cupcake. You know how you have that big fluffy thing going around? That's what that one's used for. Different writing tips to write. You have different sizes. Those are different. Okay. So you can, depend on the size of the cake, use a nail. This is what's called a...
What do you use that for?
Make a rose.
How does a nail make a rose?
Well, I can show you if you want. Just give me a minute and I can throw something together here. I gotta find the right tips here. I need to get my bakery I had down in the other place, we had a big tackle box, actually, a fishing tackle box.
Like a fishing tackle box? You kept all these?
Yeah, I kept them all in. This is what the tip you would use to make a rose with.
Okay, that's pretty narrow. So the tips fit over it's like a cloth you use.
Yeah,
right?
I use a bag, and you put the icing in a bag. This is a coupler, and it goes down in there, and then that attaches.
That attaches on there.
Yeah.
And then what do those do then?
That's what you form the rose on.
Oh, well, you make the rose on that.
Right.
I got it.
And
okay.
then you take it off and put it on your cake or whatever.
Okay.
If you want, I do have a cake actually made that I can actually decorate if you want to do that.
Well,
sometime.
we might get a picture of that here in just a little bit. We'll blend that in with some of the stuff we've talked about. So anyhow, we've got all this stuff here. You've got your racks over here, and then you have just the one oven. How many degrees do you cook at? Is there different temperatures for different, whether it's a cake or pie cookies?
Cheesecakes get baked at right around 250, 300 degrees.
Okay.
And so usually, I mean, if I know I have a cheesecake in my orders, I make sure that that's usually the first thing that goes in, because the rest of the stuff gets cooked at about 325, 350. Because that's an industrial oven, it cooks a lot hotter than your oven at home.
Because those cinnamon rolls that you had in, you said those were in for just 15 minutes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, that's quick.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. It's got a fan in there it's
kind of like a convection oven type of thing?
Convection oven. It has a fan that you can turn it on a high speed and you can put it on a low speed. Just depends on what you're making. Like if I put a cake in there, I don't want it on a high fan because the batter goes flying.
Do you leave this oven on most of the time then? You don't turn it off and on or not?
Well, I try to have it off by noon when it's hot, when it's starts to get warm out. In the wintertime, it runs almost all the time because it's the only thing I use to heat the building.
So your heat comes off the oven too?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you've been in business long enough then, having prior experience down south before you came up here, so you have a pretty good idea what you need to make each day. On a normal day, I've got so much of this, so much of that, and you have that ahead of time.
Right. Oh, yeah. There's stuff that I keep on hand all the time. There's like the mainstays, what I call mainstays, the lemon bars, the brownies, different cookies. That's what usually people are coming in. Their kids have a party at school. I don't have time to make them, so they come in here and buy them. So it works.
Well, hey, we'll be back in just a minute here on the Wave Channel 5 as we talk to Janet Wideman here at Janet's Broadway Bakery. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the special order stuff she does and a few other things as we wrap up today's show. We'll be back in just a moment. Janet's been talking about the mainstays that you have every day, but you say you also do a lot of special orders. And boy, I tell you, folks, if this doesn't whet your appetite, you're going to see some cakes here that this lady's made. They're really nice. So let's talk about this first cake here, for example.
This one here is.
Make sure we get to the camera. There we go.
Is that right? This one I did for a couple, and it was just a lot of fun. A lot of people like this design, and so that's why I keep it in here. And they like the hearts and the different scroll work that I've done on it. And,
Okay.
and this one can be done with fondant or buttercream.
Now, what's fondant?
Fondant, that is the kind, like if you watch those cake shows where they roll out the icing and they put it over the cake, and then they put different, you can make animals, you can make all kinds of things with it. It's almost like a Play-Doh type feel to it.
Okay.
So you can really manipulate that a lot to do what you want.
Okay.
That's all.
That's
scroll
this
work.
one. Okay.
This one actually was a great big wedding cake that went down to Richmond, and we did that one in 2009.
That's a lot of people, it looks like.
Yeah, it was over 600 people.
Wow.
So, and some of it had filling, and some of it didn't. And
How tough is that to transport something like that? Because you don't want it to crack or break on the way over. You got to be careful, right?
that's the most nerve-wracking part about the whole
I bet it
thing.
would be.
Oh yeah, because the cakes, we put them together as I decorate them, and then we take them apart and take them in pieces. Like this one's real easy to take in pieces because it had dividers between it, and we set them on non-slid stuff in the back of the car.
Yeah. I hope you don't have to make a quick stop someplace.
Right. And I sit there and pray the whole way.
Here's another example here.
And
This is a pretty cake here.
Yeah, this one's like a six-sided cake, and it's just real elegant and real pretty cake to do.
Uh-huh.
I just enjoyed it. And then I do other things like when the fireman passes away, if we know the family and stuff, I will put the fireman's prayer and some other things on the cake that are specific.
On a sheet cake?
Yeah, on a big sheet cake. Sometimes I've done round and layered cakes with the prayer on it, and some of the different things that firefighter may have done. I think they have numbers, and they have specific things just for them that I'll put on the cake too.
Okay. So, folks, and you do special order not only for cakes, but then also for all your other baked goods, including
pies, breads, cakes, cookies. If you have a big order that you need a lot of stuff at once, that's best to come in and order it or call.
Yeah. Now, one other thing that this fine lady does for the community here is working with, is it Grace Resurrection Community Center? Is that who you said?
Since I've been open, pretty much I have people who are homeless or don't have as much as most of us have, and I give them food on the days that Grace isn't open. I provide a soup and a sandwich and dessert on Friday and Saturday, and then on Saturday I give them something to take with them for Sunday.
Yeah.
Because I'm not open on Sunday.
Oh, that's a great community service. I want to show you folks this. This is what you call your bakery blessings.
Yeah, bakery blessings. Everything that's collected in here goes to feed those people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great outreach.
It's not a tip for me. It's actually goes to them, and it helps pay for the food that it costs to feed them.
Yeah. Well, that's just a great thing you do for the community here. So, anyhow, this has been Janet Wideman up here at Janet's Broadway Bakery, and boy, we've learned a lot. You folks get up here again. It's on South Broadway.
316 South Broadway.
Yeah, and your hours again.
8 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, and 9 to 3 on Saturday.
And your phone number.
It's 937-423-9954.
423-9954. Anyhow, this has been Janet Wideman. Thanks for your time. This has been very interesting. And on behalf of Nick Schmidt, our videographer, I'm Alex Warner. Glad you could join us here as we take a look at the businesses of the downtown area of Greenville in conjunction with Main Street Greenville on our series, Our Town, Greenville, Ohio. We'll see you again the next time as we take a look at more businesses up and down the downtown area of Greenville. Good night, everybody.